It's good to see you guys again. Welcome to SimpleChew. I'm your host Hank. On today's video, I'm gonna go over the dependents that had to file tax returns. These are dependents. They are usually teenagers, teenagers who live in your house, who sometimes have summer jobs, for example, or are older relatives who are under your roof, but they get Social Security money or they have capital gains or dividends. I think it could be confusing if you don't know if your dependent has to file any tax returns because they might just have a weekend job. I will be breaking down the difference amounts between earned income and unearned income they need to make and what slot they fit depending on their age and also if they're blind. I created a simple table explaining the difference amounts of each dependent depending on what they make on earned income and unearned income. And also this ties down with gross income. I'm also going to give you guys some examples at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. There are two types of dependents that you can put on your tax returns, and these are qualifying childs or qualifying relatives. It can be a combination or separate. When you go over the qualifying child, the child has to be under the age of 19, living with you for more than 6 months on the tax year. Your qualifying child can also be under 24 if they are a full-time student, they go to college or still in high school, whatever. This is just a small sample for the qualifying child. I have a whole different video about qualifying child. I break it down into small sections that can be easily digested by you guys. Hopefully, that's always the plan. For qualifying relative, it can be more extensive. It can include anything from stepkids, grandkids, son-in-laws, daughters-in-laws, anything has to do with in-laws, to be honest. Also, even if you divorce your spouse and your ex-spouse's parents are still living with you more than 6 months, they can qualify as a relative. But again, they still have to be living under your roof, and you have to be paying more than 50% of the household expenses, rent, and all that stuff. There are also a special occasion where someone can still be your qualifying relative. This can include any girlfriends and boyfriends, but that can be kind of tricky. One important aspect of your dependent is if you have a teenager or an adult that is under 24 but still in school, is that they have to be single. This is super important to clarify. They can't be married and have a spouse, or they can't be claimed by somebody else. That's also important. If they are married, then they can do their own taxes, and they might do married filing jointly. For the first table, we have a single dependent where they are neither age 65 or older or blind. Very important to distinguish those. If the answer is yes, you are neither 65 or older or blind, you must file a tax return. If the following apply, if you can see from the slide, you have unearned income that has more than 2,800 or 4,500 if you are 65 and blind. That's important. They have to be both. So you are saying that we are 65 and older, you are blind. So our earned income that is more than 2,800 will have to file a federal tax return. For the second part of the bulletin point, for the 4,500, we are saying that the dependent is only 65 or older, but also in the line, it's also blind at the same time. So it's basically what I'm trying to say. I just want to clarify that for people who can get confused. For earned income, bulletin point, and then there is more than $4,250 or $15,950 if you are 65 or older. It also has to be the same. It's just meaning that it's just separating both of them. For the third bulletin point, your gross income, that's the most important part, has larger than 2,800, 550 if you're 65 and older and blind at the same time, or your income is up to 12,000 plus 2,050, 7,550 if you are. The third bulletin point is for people who have earned income and also unearned income, and they are still a dependent. These are for dependents who have dividends or stock capital gains on their stock portfolio, and also receive a type of Social Security payments, unemployment payments that is considered unearned income, but they still have a part-time job on the side. They do odd jobs, and they're making some earned income at the same time. That's a specific area for if you are 65 and older or blind. And also if you're 65 and older and you're also blind, that's that specific table for you. For the second table, this is for people who are not 65 or older or blind. If your unearned income is more than 1,100, that you have to file a federal return. If your earned income is more than 12,450, you will also have to file a tax return. That's from my old video if you watched from gross income. Now we're going over the third bulletin point. This is really important. If you have a combination of unearned income and earned income, in this situation, we cannot go with some of the larger of earned income and net income. So if you have unearned income that is 1,100, or you earn income up to 12,000 plus the 350, that makes more sense when you go over next slide. I'm going to be showing you guys the examples. For examples, we are saying that Joe has two dependents, in Jim and Tony. Both are under 65 and none of them are blind. Jim has earned income of 5,750 and 550 in capital gains. He sold some stocks or whatever. Tony, on the other hand, has earned income of 4,520 and 220 in dividends. Still holding tight on his stock portfolio. Good for him. Now we are going to go over our table. I will see which buckets they fit in and determine if they had to file any tax returns. We are going to go over Jim's situation first, as we had mentioned him. And if you can see, Jim fits on the no for neither 65 or older or blind table. So going through those bulletin points is going to make it easier to determine if he needs to file tax returns over his information. We know that Jim has earned income of 5,750 and unearned income of 550 from the capital gains that he has sold or something. So we figured that his gross income is 6,200, and we are just adding the earned income plus the unearned income. And because we are looking now at the bulletin point number 3, because he has a combination of earned income and unearned income, we follow that bulletin point. Going through the table, we see on the first bulletin point, if he had unearned income there is more than 1,100, he will have to file a tax return. But we see that he only has 550 of unearned income. So from that definition, he will not have to file tax returns. But he also does have earned income. So we had to go to the next bulletin point. And if he had earned income that is more than 12,550, and he clearly did not make that much money. But when you go over the third bulletin point, and that's where it gets more interesting, because now that includes gross income, we can see that he has if there's a greater of our earned income of 1,100, earned income up to 12,000 plus the 350, where he had to calculate his gross income. When he used that third bulletin point information on gross income, we can see that his gross income is more than the 6,000. And the way that we calculated that is that gross income has a greater than earned income plus the 350, meaning because we summon his earned income of 5,250 plus the 350 that is stated on table 2, making it to $6,000. But when we calculated his gross income is $6,200. So Jim must file a tax return. That can get confusing, but it's pretty simple when you see the table. For Tony's situation, we have calculated his gross income as 4,750. We have added the 4,520 plus the 220 from his dividends, and we have seen the bulletin point number 1, or rather 3 on table 2. We see that his gross income is less than the earned income plus the 350. We have to add, so in conclusion, Tony does not have to file a tax return, because when we get his earned income of 4,420 plus the 350 from the bulletin point number 3, it only adds up to 4,870. Is less than his gross income of $4,740. The language can be confusing, but hopefully the examples can make it simple for you guys to understand. And thank you guys for watching. Hopefully it made it more easier for you guys to understand if your dependent has to file tax returns. And always remember, guys, to keep it simple.